Hey everyone, welcome back to another Router Gods video. My name's Humphrey. It is a wonderful Friday noontime in Bangkok, and I have just finished up another round of Duke classes. Just finished up Connect 1 for the third time, fourth time, whatever. And this would be about the third time that I have finished a class in the new 2-hour format. I do a lot of videos about Duke. They're not paying me anything. I'm not sponsored by Duke. They don't give me any kickbacks or any extra consideration. And yeah, that's it. We're completely separate, even though it looks like I'm, so basically I live at Duke because any chance I get when I have time, I will take classes at Duke because one, they're affordable. I live next door. And also it keeps me productive and busy and keeps me, the more time I spend at Duke, it's less of an opportunity for me to get in trouble by kind of just lounging around. And you don't want to get into that that expat death spiral where you're just sitting in your apartment most of the day and then going to Nana Plaza at night. Now, for those of you guys who do that, no judgment, but that's not something that I wanted to do. Duke Language School is on Sukhumvit Soi 13. Each class is 1 month, about 1 month, 4 weeks, Monday through Friday, 2 hours a day. You have several time slots to pick from. In the morning, you got 2 time slots, and in the afternoon, you have 2 more time slots. And you've got 9 classes in total, classes 1 through 3. They're called Journey 1, Journey 2, Journey 3. And the Journey classes concentrate on speaking. There's no Thai writing in them. It's a romanization and kind of like that fake karaoke language, but seems to work out just fine. I had no problems with it. I started in Journey 3. The next 3 classes are called Explore 1, 2, and 3. And the Explore classes concentrate on reading and writing. And Explore 1, you start learning the alphabet, you start learning maybe in the later part. In the later part, you start looking at the tone rules, I think. If I'm trying to remember, Explore 1 was so long ago for me. Explore 2, you start diving deep on some of the exceptions, the clusters, more tone rules, more vowels, and kind of the lesser known consonants, the letters that you don't use a lot. And then Explore 3 is tightening up all that, a little bit more reading, because so in Explore 1 and 2, you're starting off with reading with like simple words, and then eventually you start getting into sentences. But because it's so new, saying a sentence, reading a sentence is tough. It maxes out your brain, and you kind of feel burned out after reading one sentence because you're using 100% of your brain power. You don't know, like, oh, this is a new letter. How does the tone rule work? I'm trying to remember, is this the correct way to do the P? Because one has the loop going to the left and one has the loop going to the right. Which one is it? There's a lot of letters in Thai that have mirror images where the loop is on one side and the loop is on the other side. And there's a lot of things that look the same. And so your brain is just like, yeah? And in Explore 3, you're starting to get a little bit more familiar. And instead of reading maybe just 1 sentence in class, you might start going to 2 sentences and 3 sentences and 4 sentences. Eventually you should be able, Duke expects you to be able to read a paragraph in one shot in front of, not in front of the class, but when they go around the table or go around the room. You, student 1, read, student 2, read. Now the Connect classes, there's 3 classes, Connect 1, 2, and 3. And this is where it gets a little bit different because you can take the Connect classes in any order. And each month, there's only 1 Connect class going. So what I mean by that is there's Connect classes in the morning, morning 1, morning 2, afternoon 1, afternoon 2, all 4 time slots, there's a Connect class. But throughout all the Connect classes, it's all going to be Connect 2, or it's all going to be Connect 3. Or for this month, it was all Connect 1, and then next month it's going to be all Connect 2. But you can take those in any order. You don't have to start with one. You could jump in and go with two because there's different topics. And at this point, Duke expects you to you should be able to read whatever that they throw at you. There's no prep. You don't need any prep. They'll just say read, and you should be able to read. Now, of course, there's different, if you look at the standard deviation of students, or let's say the middle 80% of the students, they're all fine in Connect. There's not a problem with them reading. Now, there are the ones at the top 20% or the bottom 10% that might be slower or faster than others, but the vast majority of Duke students have no problem reading by the time they're in the Connect classes. Okay, let's talk about the 2-hour format. How do I feel now that I've taken the 2-hour format classes about 3 times already? I think it's completely fine. Now, in the first month, the first class that I took the 2-hour format a while ago now, so it's not really that new anymore. But Duke used to be 3 hours per class, and you only had one slot in the morning, 9 to 12, and one slot in the afternoon, 1 to 4. Majority of those concerns were, well, I'm paying the same amount of money, I'm paying 8,000 baht, and I'm getting 1 hour less per day. Okay, so valid concern. There was another concern about, can we cover the same amount of material? And I think the other concern was, is 3 hours enough? I'm actually happy with the 2-hour format for a couple reasons. For several reasons. One, it gives me more choice in terms of scheduling. Right? So before, when you only had 2 choices, morning, afternoon, that's it. Here I have a little bit more flexibility, and I think for a lot of students, maybe 9 a.m. is too early for you. I'm not a morning person. I forced myself to go to the 9 to 11 one. But yeah, I did miss a couple days because I just didn't want to wake up, right? But 11 to 1, it's actually not 11, it's like 11:10 to 1:10. But that may be a slot that works for a lot of people. And then for the afternoon, maybe you don't want to have too late of a class. You don't want to end at 4 p.m. So a 1 to 3 p.m. type of thing might work better. So in 3-hour classes, I noticed, and I think other students will agree with me, the 3rd hour, so I guess you would say the 2nd to the 3rd hour, you're already kind of feeling a little gassed out. You're kind of like daydreaming, and so you're not completely 100% there. Whereas in the first 2 hours, you're pretty much locked on. Depends on the student, right? But I would say most people, the first 2 hours, you're able to concentrate, and then you're kind of losing it hour 2 to hour 3. So if that's the case anyways for most students, why not just cut the hour 2 to 3? Why not cut that last hour out? And that way, when you come to class, you're always concentrating, and then you're kind of leaving on a high. You're leaving the class still somewhat awake, and whatever homework or studying that you have to do, you can immediately go to the coffee shop, and you're still kind of concentrating, and I think that's okay. You may be saying, well, surely they cannot cover the same amount of material if you go down to 2 hours. And when you get the book for the new format, they're a lot thinner, right? It's a lot thinner than before, but here's how it's different. With the new format, you get a lot more handouts. You get a lot more handouts. And so let's talk about the handouts and the vocabulary. For each chapter, so the new format, at least for the Connect classes, there are 5 chapters per book. So basically a little bit more than 1 chapter a week. Versus in the old format, there were a lot more than 5 chapters. So it felt like you were just constantly trying to rush to finish the chapter. And that's another thing, is that in the old format, I felt like I really wanted to learn, I really wanted to get more in depth with some of the chapters. Like, this chapter is really awesome. Can we stay in this chapter? Like, I really like this chapter, but nope, you got to keep going. Whereas in the new format with 5 chapters in 4 weeks, it felt like enough. It felt like enough. So in addition to having fewer chapters though, it is compensated by you getting more vocab. And so in addition, in the book, there are also pages for the vocab, but here you're getting take-home sheets for vocab. Most of these sheets are double-sided, and I'll just okay, this sheet has got 17 words. This sheet has got 33 words. Talks about seniority. Let's see, Gan Gratam talks about actions. Kampud talks about Yang Rai Godam. However, Tangan, Wela Pud Pasa Tangan, it's official formal language. So this one's got 33, because this has got double-sided. Ooh, yeah. This one's got 36. Let's see, Sangkom, society, behave, batibat, good word, Kwam Samret, success. Right? Man, goes on the second side. This one was a little bit smaller, 21 words, only one side. 23, saving face. That was a good one. 23 words on this one, 24 words on this one. So yeah, vocabulary, you're making up for the 2-hour class by getting more handouts on the vocabulary. And then also the vocabulary. The new format, what happens is, so every couple days you have a long reading, not assignment, but you have some like 1 page worth of reading in class. And the teacher will go around the room. Okay, student A, you read, and then you read about, sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it could be 3 sentences. It kind of depends on how long the story is and how many students are in class. So if in a particular day, a couple of the students don't show up because they have to go to immigration or whatever, right? So fewer students show up, then you might get a full paragraph to read. But on most days, you're going about at least 3 sentences, 4 sentences, 5 sentences or so. And what was happening in the format before is you would start the story and you would look at the new vocab later. Okay, you saw this word and that word means this. Now, you can kind of already see the challenge with this is, if you're reading and you hit a new word, you're just going to stop because what the hell is this, right? Here, before you read the story, you get the vocab of new words that you'll see in the story, so you can kind of study this the night before, and then when you read the next day, it's a little easier. You get a sheet every other day. Yeah, pretty much every other day you get a sheet of vocab, additional vocab. This is additional vocab that there are vocab sheets, there are vocab pages in your book as well. So this is doubling or tripling up on the vocab from, do they expect you to learn all these words? So this is a common concern I hear from potential Thai students, Duke and Chula together, is how can I remember all these words? You're not really supposed to remember all these words. Like, no one expects you to learn 30 words by heart overnight, right? But seeing for the first time those 30 words, maybe a couple stick. You read the story and a couple more stick. So it's over time, we start the process of learning those vocabulary words. You pick the ones that make more sense to you. You pick the ones that are interesting to you. This last chapter, tasanakadi, the Thai word for attitude. So tasanakadi, gilgap, grain zai, tasanakadi, gilgap, rung sabai sabai, Thai's attitude towards sabai, Thai's attitude about being considerate to others. We said that word so many times because to me it sounds Japanese, tasanakari, but it's a Thai word. But the first time we read it, the first time most of the students saw it in the list, we're just like, how there's a cluster in there, there's a hidden word, there's a hidden sound. Yeah, how do you say this? And then when we said it was like, ooh, sounds Japanese. And so I made a joke about it. Like every time I said tasanakiri, I would follow it up with hai, just kind of making fun that it sounds Japanese. But yeah, there are certain words that you look at and like, dude, I can totally use that word. And there are other words that you kind of go, maybe I'll never use it, right? So no one expects you, and I don't think Duke expects you to memorize by heart 30 to 40 words a day. It's not going to happen. They don't expect that. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like stressed out about the vocabulary. We just start the process. We give you a vocabulary sheet. You study on your own, and then eventually those are going to trickle in. Okay, breaks. In the 2-hour class, you're going to get one break, and kind of right usually at the hour mark or between the hour mark and the 10-minute mark, depending on how long people have been talking. That break is about 10 minutes long. You don't have to stress about it. If you come back late, not a big deal. You're not going to get yelled at, but yeah, it gives you enough time. So my technique for the break is I go downstairs and I walk kind of to the corner. I walk north to the corner where the sidewalks drops off. There's a couple bars there, and there's another 7-Eleven. There's two 7-Eleven. You're bracketed by 7-Elevens. So I just kind of walk, get some fresh air, and walk back. Other times I'll walk to the 7-Eleven and I'll get a drink. You have time to walk to the Dunkin' Donuts downstairs and get a coffee if you want. Other students will just stay in class and kind of look at their phones. Most Duke students are serious. Now there's some self-selection once you get to the Connect classes, because these are the students that have survived the Journey classes. These are the students that have survived the reading and writing. So yeah, you would expect the Connect students to be pretty serious. Ages wise, all types of ages, everywhere from 20s to 30s to 40s and beyond, right? I'm 51, so I'm a little bit older, but I was not the oldest one in class. I've had classes where we've had 70-year-olds in class, and there's probably been classes where you've had even older folks. So it's a wide range of ages. Countries usually have like a couple of Americans. You'll have a couple half Thais. So kind of in this is interesting. So yeah, you have Thai people who maybe grew up in America or grew up in another country, grew up in Europe, and they grew up in a Thai household, but maybe they never learned how to read and write. It's interesting having them in class because usually their pronunciation and their what's the word, porosity. There's a word about the rhythm of speech, and their pronunciation is straight on, but then they're still learning the vocab. They're still trying to get the grasp of like grammar because they were never formally taught grammar, but they could say words. They can have a conversation fairly easily. Asians, there's Chinese, there's Taiwanese, there's Koreans, there's Burmese. The morning classes tend to have more Asians. Maybe that's because they just want to get it out of the way. Maybe that's just the way they're used to learning. But as a general rule, more Asians in the morning, more Westerners, more Farang in the afternoon. Just my observation, I would say every third day you get a take-home assignment. And it's not much, at least in the Connect classes. It's basically write 5 to 10 sentences, write a couple paragraphs about a topic, and you are given 3 choices. You are usually given 3 choices in terms of how to answer that topic. So for example, one of our writing assignments was when you're faced with a situation where someone asks you about personal, something private, something personal, suandua, how do you respond? And so your three options were something like, what's your technique on avoiding answering that? Oh, squirrel. Oh, your shoes are so nice. What did you do with your hair today? That's so great. Oh, how's the Dodgers doing today? Or if you want to ask about something private, what's your technique? Or tell me about situations where it's inappropriate to ask about private information. Of course, we have to do this in all Thai. The grading is not serious. This is not Chula Longcorn, red pen, blah, 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 blah. The classes are pretty packed. I had a quick peek in the Explore and the Journey classes, 10 to 15. They tend to have more people. They use the bigger classes. Pretty much every room is full. Now, I don't know how many rooms total Duke has, but I think every room is full. They're doing something right. On the shift change, on the classroom change at the 2-hour mark when everyone is going out and everyone comes in, it is very evident how packed and how busy they are, because you have the clash of the two. You have morning one hitting morning two. It's just, we are in that corridor. We're just like, oh, excuse me, sorry, coming through, type of thing. Especially there, it's a funnel through the front doors, right? So there's a double front doors, and it's just like, it gets kind of crazy for a couple minutes because it's a massive influx going out and a massive influx coming in. But they're doing something right. I mean, I estimate they have a couple hundred to several hundred students. And this is just me looking at the Thai language part of it. They also teach English. So they have several English teachers. I think they teach Chinese. Thai is not the only thing they teach. So yeah, they're doing extremely well. Your job as a student, your goal as a student, aspirational goal, is to make it to the Connect classes, because the Connect classes are a whole different ballgame. They're taught differently. It's more, I feel that you learn the most and you have the most fun in the Connect classes. You're getting a lot of vocabulary thrown at you. You're reading, you're talking, you're having the most conversation that you could possibly have, other than getting a Thai tutor for 2 hours. The level of vocab is both Pasapun, normal speaking, Pasatangan. It's a good mix of both, and they'll tell you the differences. They'll say this word we would normally say in a formal situation. This word we would normally say, like, Pokatis in Tonon Sukhumvit. So you may ask, how much conversation do you get in the Connect classes? So in a 2-hour, I would say in the 2-hour class each day, you probably get a good, we're talking and listening, chattering with each other. This is not us just talking with the teacher. We're talking with each other. The teacher will chime in. It's like, oh yeah, that word you want to say, it's this. So it's very much, yeah, there's a teacher there. The teacher's leading the discussion. But a lot of times the teacher can kind of step back and kind of go like, well, the students are talking between themselves, like, we'll kind of go with it. Do we get off track? Yeah, we get off track. We get off track a lot, but I'm happy with it, because as long as I'm still learning, as long as the content is interesting, I'm cool with it. I'm absolutely cool with it. We start off the day with, how does a typical day start? We come in and the teacher will go around the room. How are you? Did you get enough sleep? What did you do last night after class? What did you do over the weekend? What are your plans for the weekend? And yeah, some students answer with a couple sentences. Some students answer a little bit longer. She'll tease out some extra stuff from you that gets into a big conversation. Other student will be like, well, how was that mall? How was the what? How was that restaurant? And then it's just talking. And then another student will be like, oh, I had that situation as well. I ran into that as well over here. And then it could be, that one student that was maybe supposed to speak for maybe about 2 or 3 minutes, we stayed with that situation for 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, the teacher's like, okay, that word that you want to talk about is, is this. And then the whole whiteboard will start filling up with new vocabulary pertaining to that conversation. And then we kind of like, we'll keep talking, and then it'll be like, oh, it's break time. 1 hour has passed. And, that's also kind of cool, is like, we were so engaged in the conversation that the 1 hour just went by like that. And we have a whole whiteboard full of just vocab and grammar, and we take a picture of when we're learning the vocab. Generally, every third or fourth word, the teacher will stop and she'll say, "Kit nung brayo." Think of one sentence. And you kind of go around the room, and you have to like conjure up a sentence. Sometimes it's really stressful. Like, it really causes you to think on some words, because this word is really abstract. Like, how do I get a sentence out of it? But it kind of happens as other students answer. You kind of get an idea, like, okay, I could kind of talk about food in this context. Okay, let's talk about the teacher. Teacher is great, Kru Ming. She is funny. She has a lot of energy, and this is overall for all the teachers at Duke. I've never had a bad teacher at Duke. So whatever they do for their training, it works. I mean, I think I was kind of a semi-pest in class, because a lot of times, like, how do I say this? And how do I say this? Because I'm curious, like, is there a Thai way of saying this? So I would stop and ask questions a lot, maybe a lot more than other students. Okay, the amount of reading and the level of reading in the Connect classes, we'll end with this. There was some Facebook posts and Facebook comments and Reddit comments comparing Duke and Chula. And it's kind of amazing to me how people can answer that question so emphatically when you haven't attended both schools, right? So for example, if someone attends Duke and they say something about Chulalongkorn University Intensive Thai, but they've never attended Intensive Thai. Or flip it around, someone who's attended Chulalongkorn University say something about Duke or other schools, but they've never attended Duke. Or the worst situation, someone who hasn't attended either one and says stuff about either school. I've attended both. I've gone through every class at Duke, and I attended Chulalongkorn University intensive Thai class. So I think that I can compare the two. Let's just turn to a random page. Just turn to a random page in the book. Boom. Okay? So that's pretty typical of the level of reading and the amount of reading. It's a whole page. And we're dealing with, okay, so this is about society, what's expected in society. We're talking about Greng Thai attitudes about Greng Thai attitudes about talking about personal situations. I mean, this is some high level stuff. The level of reading in the Connect classes is within striking distance of Chulalongkorn University. At least what I saw at Chulalongkorn Intensive Thai Level 5. Now, I'm pretty sure that once you get into Intensive Thai Level 7, 8, and 9, I have no doubt that gets like freaking insane, right? And since I've been through Connect 1, 2, and 3 multiple times at Duke, I will say confidently that Duke never gets to that level. But is it close? Sure. I would say within 20 to 30%. It's probably close enough for most normal students of Thai language. And what you are willing to endure as a student before it gets, so there's a fine line before there's a fine line between a fun class and oh crap, this sucks type of class. And I think Duke Connect rides that line fairly well. So here's another reading assignment that we have in class. Almost a full page. Most of the students in class have gone through the other 6 classes at Duke. So this would be their 7th month. They've taken someone who started with 0, and now they're reading stuff like this. Are some students faster than others? Sure. But just the fact that they could read this. Some students read it fast, no difficulty, and we have those students in class, right? We have a couple of students in class, they read it, it's like no pause, it's like, God dang, right? We have other students that can read it and they'll, maybe every other sentence they'll hit a word like, okay, but after about maybe 1 second's pause, they read that word, they fix it and they keep going, right? Kind of like a stutter step, like fast, a little pause and then fast, right? And then we have other students that maybe are a little bit slower than others, but they get through it. They're able to get through it. Just the fact that you can read this crazy stuff that would have killed us, like in Explore 1, in the 4th month and 5th month, Explore 1 and 2. If you tried to read this, you'd be just like, you might not be able to read it, let alone comprehend the words. So also what I noticed is a lot of students are now able to keep up with the instructor, whereas before, heck no, right? It's weird. You're not looking at the letters anymore individually. There are certain combinations, you've seen it enough where you see it as a word, like, so, sabay. So when I don't see the S, the B, the A, the yoyak. I don't really see that anymore. I just see it as sabay. When I see those letters, I don't chop them up anymore. There's probably a word for that. I don't know what it is. The instructor will read a sentence. You follow along, you read the sentence. We can keep up. It's not a problem. So that's the point that they have reached at the 7th month part. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's great. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, which I'm sure there will be, put them in the section below. And have a great rest of the weekend. Take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.